is going to be a great show in the progression of getting to understanding healing. So Henry, how can one get ready to receive? And I know this is very personal. Each person has their own way, but I think you've got a good outline of how to facilitate these treatments.
Thank you, Sheila. First off, the energy work is like electricity. Well, how is it like electricity? Well, it's invisible. You can't actually see it, but you can see the effects. And like electricity, to see the effects, it needs to be grounded. Bottom line. You don't need to be an electrical engineer to understand grounding. All you have to do is take your plug and take off one of the prongs, and it won't work. So when you're receiving energy work and you're not grounded, your ability to receive it is greatly diminished. Part of facilitating the work is actually in grounding and bringing the person into that relationship with themselves. Now, there are really simple ways to ground oneself. A thought, I need to ground myself. Or you can imagine, all kinds of things having to do with, like, let's say, an axis going through the center, vertical axis of your body through the spine and grounding in the center of the earth. You can imagine your hands around your ankles and grounding them into the center of the earth. Whatever it takes to come to that understanding, to ground oneself, really helps. It goes beyond the treatment. What I'm saying is actually a protocol basis for life. A lot of times people are not in their bodies, so they can't ground. So they have to be brought back into their body. And there are many reasons why people are not in their bodies. Most of them are traumatic, having to do with some trauma they experienced that knocked them out of their body. Mm. So coming to that understanding, getting yourself back into your body, grounding yourself, and you're receiving this energetic work. The energetic work is profound. It's powerful. It brings potency into relationships. And that transfers into the body. Now, the grounding helps kind of lock that into the systems of the body, and the body can now do the work that it needs to do, and you get somewhat healthier. One of the things that people notice immediately at the end of an energetic session is a deeper sense of relaxation. The whole purpose is to relax, to quiet the body down, to decompress, to de-stress the body. Like when you were a kid and you went to sleep and you closed your eyes, and it seemed like the next second you open them up and 10 hours have passed and you feel robust. Well, that is because your mind was detached from your body at that point, and the body could do all of this work that it needed to do to get you to neutral. And that's what it felt like when you were in neutral, robust. So when you're older, we we don't sleep like that. Most of us don't. And we don't sleep very well. So our minds are not really detaching from our bodies in the sense that the body can do all of this work. So we have to seek levels of relaxation, like meditation, energetic work, proper exercise and diet that helps us to really shut it down, relax, stop thinking, stop worrying about what you need to do or haven't done or should have done or will never do. Because the most important thing in the moment is one's health and one's state of mind, which is relational to health, because the mind is inside the body and it's picking up, a lot of information in the body, and then it's bringing it into the mind in terms of if it's still holding stress, that'll show up in the mind, and your thoughts are very frenetic. They can't relax. Or either you're relaxing and then the mind begins to relax and you begin to get a greater sense about yourself. So to help facilitate that, I don't have to tell a person, what they need to do to relax. Sitting down in a comfortable position, turning the lights down a little bit, quietness. You might like some scent in the air. In terms of that, things which help one to relax are things like Epsom salt. Epsom salt baths in hot water, 45 minutes. A lot of people do Epsom salt. They don't think it does very much, and that's because they don't stay in 45 minutes. It takes 45 minutes for the endorphins to kick in. And the endorphins are these chemicals that are produced in the brain that go right into the cerebral cortex, nervous system, and give a command, relax. And then the body feels, like a wet noodle. And at that point, you can relax. Those of you that have had the advantage to go to spas, there are many spas that offer Epsom salt treatments, which help people relax before they receive a treatment. And then they receive the treatment, they can receive it better because they have been relaxed. So that is the thinking to receive this energetic work. Now, in terms of the energetic work itself, it's very good with pain management, and with physical things like muscles, tendons, ligaments, bones, the nervous system. What the energetic work is less effective on is chemistry, because chemistry has a lot of variables. For example, your body chemistry is directly related to what you put into your mouth. Bottom line. If you're eating for the taste of your tongue, the taste buds, well, you may not be putting the best chemicals into your body. But if you're eating for the health of your system and not for your taste buds, well, then you begin to put better things into your body, and then you begin to level out and integrate between how to make things that are good for your body taste good. Because, there was research done once. I remember in college listening to a radio station, and had done this research testing people who ate sprout and avocado sandwiches on whole wheat bread and people that ate bacon cheeseburgers. And people that ate bacon cheeseburgers seemed to get more nutrients out of the bacon cheeseburgers than the test group that were receiving the avocado and sprout sandwiches. And the reasoning was that the people that ate the cheeseburgers enjoyed eating the cheeseburgers and they enjoyed the taste. So they got more nutrients out of it. And the people that ate the sprouts and avocado sandwiches did not really enjoy them that much. So there is something hardwired in our bodies to taste. And I'm not saying, to totally throw taste out of the kitchen, because it's very important. But we can't only eat the taste necessarily. So I understand that I'm speaking to a wide range of people. So I can't preclude who I'm speaking to and the habits of those individuals. So bear with me if I have to cover all of these areas. Now, the other interesting part about receiving the energetic work is to be able to relay as much information as possible to the person you're working with, because they need as much information as possible to help you. And it might not seem important to you or not a big deal, but sometimes these little trivial details, add leverage to be able to, turn something around. Whereas, for example, I was working on this guy that had sciatica problems for 10 months. And I thought, wow, that's a really long time to have sciatica problems. And he had been to a chiropractor and all of this stuff, and it still didn't hit me right away. And he says, well, it's when I sit down, it's okay. It's when I get up and move around that it really affects me, and it still didn't hit me. And then it hit me. Then I asked him about his weight. Well, that was the issue. You see, it was the weight. So the weight exacerbated the sciatic condition every time he got up and moved around. So these things which may not seem important are really important, especially if you're doing energetic work over a phone and you don't have access visually to a person, or you don't have access to a person because you're not standing next to them. You get a lot of information just by observing a person and when you put your hands onto them. That's when you receive the most information. What is nice about the energetic work is you can narrow down the information because you're not receiving all of the extra information. So the focus is very specific. You can access things in the body that are not easily accessed other ways. Little intrinsic muscles or little intrinsic nerves or nerve ganglion or things of this nature. A person receiving the energetic work can support themselves to receive the energetic work by curtailing some of their activities to accommodate the work. Depending on what's wrong with the person, there are many things that a person would need to do to kind of bring everything into their behavior into focus to support receiving the energetic work. Many times to receive the energetic work, you've already been to the doctor. You've already seen people that can't do very much to help you. So with the energetic work, the little progress you incrementally make during the session, it's important to hold on to that progress so that the progress builds, the momentum builds over time, and you get healthier in a greater way in time. These are not instantaneous sessions. You don't necessarily receive one session and then everything is fixed, and then you can go about your same habits and your same routines and do everything the same way. It doesn't happen that way. Sometimes you have to shift how you do things to accommodate to receive the work. A lot of times people will call me when they're in dire need of feeling different, that they haven't called me to get a relaxing treatment because they weren't in either a lot of pain or they weren't having all of these issues right up front in their mind and in their body and in their nervous system. So this is another aspect of the work, waiting till the last minute because you think it may go away. It may just be a passing thing. Sometimes they are passing things. But we usually have a sense when they are not passing things. And you can put that out of your mind, fine, but it's not necessarily going to translate into your body letting that go. Again, here we come to the idea of affirmations, visualizations, bringing your thoughts into a relationship to work with things in your body. I believe that is extremely important. I've used visualization many, many times. Even in the energetic work, sometimes I visualize. I visualize things like I will take, the person's nervous system by the cerebral cortex, and I will shake all of the stuff that doesn't belong there off, and I will wring it clean. Because many times I don't get an indication holding that relationship. And after I do a couple of visualizations, all of a sudden I get an indication in the nervous system. So visualization is powerful. It helps to get to where you need to be. And the most important thing, and this is peculiar because it is about thought and it is about the mind. Thoughts are energetic. The mind is a source of energy. We can use that positively or negatively, to our advantage or not to our advantage. How do we know the difference? Well, we don't necessarily know the difference. We only know the difference through the effects that come up through whatever we're doing or how we're doing something. a lot of times it's not what we're doing, but it is how we are doing what we are doing. For example, you can be doing something and you can be doing it in a way in which it's not helping. Then you can shift that to accommodate doing it in a way in which the body and mind benefits from it. So it's like a volume control. You know, you have to be able to sometimes lower the volume. And that's very true with stress. You know, trying to, stress is in the how-to department. You know, we can be trying so hard and getting nowhere. Well, we know how stressful that is because we've all been there. So what we need to do is just kind of relax and let it go. Obviously, we've taken on something greater than we can handle. And you just allow it to express itself. And then you reconnect in areas where you can manage and handle. Because, I mean, we've seen other people do things. We see it on television. We see it in movies. We think, oh, it can be done. I can do it. And if it doesn't happen that way, well, you think that it won't happen at all for you. But the truth is that you have to find out how it will happen to you. And that is the how-to department, how we do things. We can't all do things the same because we are not all the same. We are not all the same energetically. You know, we're not all the same emotionally in any one moment. And we're not all the same in terms of our thought patterns in any moment either. Now, on a structural physical level, yes, in terms of relationship to our bodies, yes, we're very similar. But how we do all of that is unique to each and every one of us. It's as unique as receiving an energetic treatment because the practitioner, responds to the uniqueness and the particular issues with a particular person. You know, how their body does things and how their body holds things is very different than others. It may be true, similar to others, but we learn the same thing in allopathic medicine. Some drug prescriptions, for the same thing will not necessarily work with others. The dosage will not necessarily work. Some people need stronger doses. Some people need less strong doses. Some people are allergic to certain things. And nowadays we're hearing about so many people being allergic to all kinds of things from the outside world. Anywhere from scent all the way to noise. I mean, it's dust, pollen. I mean, they're sensitive to all kinds. So everybody is unique in their own bodies and in relationship to their own mind. And the facilitator takes this into account because working on individuals, you will be working on their issues specifically to how it affects their body. There are certain general protocols also, like clearing the nervous system, the cerebral cortex, the going up and down the spine, making sure that all the vertebrae are in their proper positionings, things like that. But then on the front side of the vertebra, how the thyroid and the adrenals affect the heart or the stomach, lungs, liver, kidneys, gallbladder, and spleen, and pancreas, that is an individual thing. So there we are trying to present to you a situation in which to understand that even though you may be experiencing something very different than anybody else, that the energetic work does address things specific to the individual. And we've talked about supporting the work with the how we are doing things department, because again, how we are doing things will affect how those things will be internalized and used within our own bodies and systems. So that is basically a beginning understanding to receiving this work. Again, grounding, which is very important. Finding ways in which you can relax and support relaxation is very important. And supporting the work with nutrition, diet, activities which also support relaxation and not overstressing the system. Thank you, Shri.
All right. Well, join us in our next show on how to nurture your energy treatment. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.